Okay, you are listening to Oops Spoilers. This is an Other Girls Media production. This is my podcast where I review movies, TV shows, books, and I give it a TOG score. And then I just gab about the book or the movie because that's just what I like to do. Okay, I have not done an Oops Spoilers this year. I've not done spoilers in a really long time. If you follow the Instagram, I have been putting some books. I'm in a book club, and I have been putting some books on there that I have been reading. So make sure if you like to listen, make sure you're also following the Instagram oops_spoilers_. So yeah. Okay, so this is a long time coming, today's episode. Oh, let me also give a little bit more of a summary of what this is. So this show is a spoiler show. I'm going to read the summary, and then I'll go, oops, spoilers. And if I read the summary, and you're like, you know what I want to listen to, I actually want to watch without spoilers, then click off. When I go, oops, spoilers, that means click off. If you do not click off by then I'm going to assume you don't mind being spoiled, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, so this is a long time coming. I saw this movie. Well, this movie was like popular. It came out last year, and I've just really been needing to do this. I just need to sit down and like kind of talk about it, gather my thoughts. I have some notes here and there, and then everything. So I'm really excited to talk about it. It's going to be a little different because I'm going to try not to do as much plot as it is, because there's a lot of things to talk about and like kind of like break down in this movie. So I'll probably break down and talk more about it than talk as much about the plot, but we'll see. We'll see how this flows. So here we go. Today I'm going to be talking about The Substance. Oscar nominated film, by the way. It did not win an Oscar, but it was Oscar nominated. It won an Oscar in my heart. I mean, crazy movie. So many people talked about the movie before, and I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, okay, I need to see this movie. I didn't really know or understand what it was about. Yeah, I just didn't get like the concept of it when I went in, and I think sometimes that's good to not really know. Yeah, it's one of those times. Okay, let me just read to you. Okay, so this is the summary from IMDb.com. A fading celebrity takes a black market drug, a self-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. And that is a perfect explanation to what happens. Whatever you're picturing right now, if you've not seen the movie, is not what happens, though. This is a perfect example, but whatever you're imagining in your head is not what you're going to see. What you're going to see is I'm going to talk about in a second. So now, if you do not want to be spoiled, oops, spoilers, here we go. So the movie starts, so it's one of those like films, like it's not like a entertainment Marvel type of film. It just feels like one of those films where like it is trying to say something, and it's artsy. So it starts off with like eggs, and you see the eggs split, and like you're kind of like, okay, what the heck am I watching? And then we get to know the main character. The main character's name, let me just flip my notes. I don't know why I forgot. Her name is Elizabeth. So we see Elizabeth, and she is supposed to be 50, and she's played by Demi Moore. I will say, I think they did a really good job, because same with Barbie, in the sense of like, Elizabeth is essentially it's her last day of work. She's 50, she's too old to be she has like a workout show, and she used to be this big popular, they show like her walk, the star that you get on the walk, in California, they show that star, and how when she got it, when it was beautiful, pristine. Then over time, people just stopped caring about her because she got older, she was in a couple films, so now she has this like workout show. And so what I was saying about casting Demi Moore, and like the point I think is like, so Demi Moore, first of all, Demi Moore is in her 60s, and she is hot. I mean, that lady is hot. She looks great. But in her head, she's like, oh, I'm just this old hag. Like, that's how she acts. That's also how this Hollywood executive treats her. His name is Harvey Weinstein. I wonder if that's a nod to that. And it's a scene where he's eating shrimp, and it's on purpose. It is the most disgusting thing they do. They like zoom in on it, and like, God, like thinking about it, it's just like, ugh, it's making my skin crawl. But long story short, she is told, hey, we're gonna move on to someone else. We need someone younger and hotter to be in this workout show. So she ends up going to the doctor. The doctor, she meets this guy who tells her about the substance. And the substance is this drug thing that you get that lets you be younger. Now, I want to pause for a second. When you're thinking lets you be younger, I think all of us are thinking like in those movies where there's like a Twilight Zone episode where they do it and like you age backwards. No. Honestly, I guess trigger warning. Like, so long story short, she gets the substance. Oh, here's another thing about the movie. The movie is so there's not a lot of dialogue in the movie. I listened to another person do a video about it, and I think she said there's only like 80 pages of dialogue and there's like 200 plus pages of script, which is like crazy. There's not a lot of dialogue, and it's really good when it comes to the coloring and the lighting, and like it paints this picture. And my brother and I were trying to decide, does this movie take place like in present day or does it take place in the past? And I read somewhere or heard somewhere that it takes place like in a kind of like a dystopian present. But like watching it, you're like, is this the 80s? Because like there's so many things about the 80s, but she has a cell phone, she has a smartphone. And then yeah. So anyway, okay, so like I said, trigger warning. What happens when she does the substance? It's like a shot type of thing. Her back. So this movie is considered a body horror. So like alert, it is considered a body horror. Her back splits open and Margaret Qualley, also known as Sue, like comes out of it, and it is the most absolutely like like it is horrifying. Like I had to look away. Like I just it was just so awful. And that is how like the younger version like comes about. Okay, so there's rules for the substance and I'm going to read them really quick. So there's the 7-day rule. So okay, you as the main person, you take the shot. You pass out for 7 days, and there's these things to help you like kind of eat. It's like the food to give you, and then your younger version comes out, does whatever they want for the 7 days, and then also the younger person takes like part of your essence, for lack of a better word. It's like another syringe. So like there's tons of syringes. Oh, and I forgot to say this. When the younger version comes out of her body, she has to sew her older body up. Oh my god, it's just the craziest thing. So there's like this liquid that you get to like, it's kind of like food, and it's supposed to like keep you healthy while you're passed out for those 7 days. And everybody has 7 days. Older version 7 days, younger version 7 days. And the next 7 days is the older version, the next 7 days is the younger version. Elizabeth is older, Sue is younger. So Elizabeth has 7 days, then Sue has 7 days. Okay, and this is very important. Okay, that is the thing. It's very important. So she has 7 days, and then yeah, I guess that's all the rules. And you are the same person. Like that's another thing they keep harping on, is like you are technically the same person, which is kind of like a hard concept to grasp, but like that's the point of it. So like yeah. So okay. So finally Sue comes, and then Sue ends up getting the gig, and she's hot, she's young. And so this is a part I'll talk about this. I want to get to the spice level, because this is where I kind of like struggled a little bit with like giving the spice a rating, because what they do a lot, and here's the thing, like whenever we talk, well, I'll talk about that at the end, but the spice, so they do a lot of zooming in. Oh, also when she comes out, they're both naked. So they do a lot of zooming in on Sue's body, because it's trying to show that like she's this really hot girl, and they give her we don't know this, the audience doesn't know this, but like her boobs are so perfect, they give her, like the actual actress, they gave her fake boobs to like enhance her breasts, just to show like how she's this hot young thing, and she's like taking over. Like the point was definitely being made. Like you saw that zooming in, this and that. So long story short, Sue is enjoying her life, and then she wants to stay a little bit longer because she's really enjoying her time there. Well, the first time she stays a little bit longer, it actually ends up affecting Elizabeth. So when Elizabeth comes and it's her turn, one of her fingers is like shriveled up. It's kind of gross. So it's just like, okay, so she's like, okay, this is, Sue and Elizabeth now knows what happens when you stay a little bit longer. Staying over the 7 days kind of takes some of the youth from the older version. That's important. That's going to be important for later, obviously. I think anybody, who's seen the movie knew the direction that it was going to go in. So then later, she's like, okay, this is, all right, can't do this again. This is what Elizabeth is saying. So here's something that's really big, and I feel like a lot of people don't really harping on it. The videos I've seen of people talk about it don't really harping on this, but so she there's this point where at the beginning of the movie she ran into one of her old classmates, and he's like gushing over her, saying how beautiful she is and how great she is, and he gives her his number. So eventually, after Sue's been out and she sees there's a big huge billboard of Sue, and there's this and there's that, and like she's starting to feel even worse about herself because nobody's caring about her the same way they're caring about Sue now, because she's old and she's decrepit, she's just out of the way. That's how it's being portrayed. So the guy that gave her the show, she ends up calling the guy, and he's like, yeah, I want to go on a date. And he's super excited to meet her. He legitimately likes her, wants to like get to know her and like date her. Okay, so he wants to get to know her and date her. Then, okay, fast forward. So now is the time of the date. So she's putting her makeup on, and then she sees something. She's looking in the mirror, and then she's like, no, this isn't right. She does her makeup again. She's doing other stuff, and she can't get out of herself. It's like such as a girl who personally struggles with how she looks, and it's rare, but if I do meet a guy that does think that I'm attractive, it is like that scene was it felt very real about how, someone supposedly, I say supposedly because of my own personal history, but someone supposedly finds you attractive and you're finally out here, but like you still aren't perfect, still aren't the way, and you just get in your head, and then she ends up not going on this date and standing the guy up, which I think was the pivotal moment of the movie. So now Elizabeth has done her time. Now it's Sue's time. Sue ends up spending 3 months because she got an opportunity to be in a production, for New Year's. And so she ends up getting extra stuff, doing all this extra stuff to make sure that she's able to stay longer. So she works hard and to stay longer. Before that, she does one more. So before she does the 3 months, she does like maybe a couple weeks, and it ages Elizabeth again. And this time she's like super wrinkled. Her hair is gray. She has like a bone, like she has to like move her leg. It's actually disgusting. Like what is going on with her leg. And that's where you get that. I'm sure you've seen the meme where she like has her crazy hair and then she's like cooking and stuff like that. And like it's really uncomfortable. And then Elizabeth comes on then Sue comes up again. And that's when Elizabeth has trashed the apartment and she's eaten so much. And then that's where you get the control yourself. That's where you get that from. Okay, so let's go back to the 3 months. So it has been 3 months. So this is like now we're getting to like the pinnacle. And once, like, this is where we're about to get to the scene that is just like, I could have done without. I get what they did, but I could have done without, okay? So then we get to the scene where Elizabeth comes back after Sue has had her for 3 months, and she is like hunched over, no hair. I'm sure you've seen the pictures online. Like some of these things you just have to look up to see the pictures. And she just looks like unreal, like disgusting. So she's like upset at Sue for keeping her for so long, and then she ends up calling the company and saying, hey, I want to terminate this. So she gets the opportunity to terminate Sue, to essentially kill Sue, but she just can't do it. So she tries to revive Sue. So she ends up trying to revive Sue, and then she and Sue fight, and it's like a weird, like, unnatural fight, and obviously Sue wins. Here's the thing. Sue has not gotten a chance to get more of, for lack of a better word, Elizabeth's essence to maintain her, because if Sue doesn't get enough of Elizabeth's essence, then she will start falling apart as well. Now, here's where things start to get really crazy. So Sue still goes out trying to go out. Like, I'm just picturing it, and it is so gross. Like, it is body horror. That's what this is, body horror. So she is going out, and so different things start to happen. Her tooth comes off, like just falls apart. Her ear falls down. Like, she's like literally falling apart. So she goes back to her apartment, and there's a little bit left of the initial shot. And I knew at the beginning it said 1 use. When they zoomed in on that 1 use, I said, in my head, I'm like, she's going to try to use it twice. So she ends up shooting herself twice, like giving herself the shot twice. And then she turns into like this mega Sue. I've heard people refer to it as like a mega Sue, as like it's like this Cronenberg monster. Legitimately, there's like extra boob, like an ear here, like it's disgusting. It's Cronenberg. It's like, it's so disgusting. Whatever you're picturing, it's that. Like this, you're probably picturing accurately. When I say Cronenberg, disgusting, a woman, no hair, like it's awful. So she turns into that, and she still tries to go out and do the show. And in the show, so she puts an earring on, but her ear is like, that doesn't fully go in because she doesn't have like an actual ear. Oh my god. And she like puts on the dress, and then she walks back to the where the production is, and everybody's acting normal. So this is the part that like was a little confusing. Everyone's acting normal. I guess the point of that was like they don't really see her. They don't see her for who she is. They just see her as like the talent because she's in the dress and everything. So she's going back. And then long story short, she gets up to sing and do whatever, and then like everything falls apart. There's like parts of her start falling off, and then it's like puts like blood all over the room. It's just like a mess. I almost don't even want to, like, there's nothing more to say other than like she starts literally falling apart, and then there's just like blood everywhere. So then she like is like, no, but I'm me, like love me for me. And then like parts of her fall off again, and then it's her face, and then anyway, her face ends up, and I know this probably doesn't make any sense, but this is what happened. Her face ends up crawling to where her star is, where the Star on the Walk of Fame is, and then ends up disintegrating, and it's just blood. And then like the next day, a sweeper person comes and cleans up the blood. And then that's the story of Elizabeth and Sue. It is a crazy movie. I feel like it's definitely something I would watch again. And it's definitely something that I think you can get a lot out of. There's a couple of movies that, like, you know, one day if I get married, like I want my spouse to watch with me and discuss. One of them is The Box, and I'll have to do an oops spoiler on The Box. The Box is like a family, like my family loves that movie. Like it means more to us than like probably the average person. I don't know why. That movie is just like ingrained in our family. Like The Box, The Substance, and then Princess Diaries, of course. But the main pinnacle one, I'll have to do an episode on this, is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like that is like, anyway. But The Substance is probably gonna go on that list too, because like it's just so much to it, and it's weird in its body, like it's crazy. So let's like kind of discuss some of the things and themes of it. Like two things I want to discuss really about it. So, and I touched on a little bit, is the concept of like beauty and like older and younger. I think that's something that we all, especially women, that's just like a tough thing that I would say we go through. Like it's just something that you think about a lot. It's like age and beauty, and like especially in this day and age when people are doing any and everything to look young, it does, you know, there's just this pressure. And like I think there was commentary on that. I think that one of the things I just, looking at the movie, I just can't help but, and you know, I haven't really seen this talk, but I just can't help but think about how like Demi Moore is not old looking. There's people who are like in their 30s that don't look as good as Demi Moore. So I think it's just like something that we all have, that we're all thinking about, and that we're all, you know, we're putting pressure on ourselves, which is one of the reasons why I hope that I stick with this. But like I'm not someone who has had any work done, like, and I hope to continue to live like that, because I just think that like aging gracefully, you know, I think there's nothing wrong with like putting effort in. I recently just ordered some of that tape you put on to make sure, like, to help your jaw and everything. And like I always do make sure I do Natnola to make sure my skin is not, you know, disgustingly dry and like cakey or whatever. Like there's things that you can do, and I think it's important for you to do them. But, you know, like I think that just fighting aging is just such like a terrible, it's just like an extra burden. There's so many other things going on in life. Like I hate that we feel this pressure as women to like be constantly fighting against that. And then the other concepts, I'm on my notes because I completely forgot the aging aspect. Or maybe it's on my phone. Okay, I didn't write it down. It was the aging aspect of it, and then I guess it really wasn't that important. important. I can't remember it. Maybe when I go, let me break down the ratings, and then if it comes up, I'll just mention it during the ratings. Let's break this down. So what I do to get the TOG score, I calculate the plot. Is this an interesting plot? Did the plot make sense? Is it something I've ever seen before? Is this like a normal plot? Is this like a plot that, that happens a lot? I guess it's the same as a plot I've never seen before. The point is the plot, okay? Like, is this a good plot? And then I do, language. Is there a lot of cursing in this movie? That's essentially what it is. There is no cursing. It's a 5. So that's good. No cursing, a 5. If it's riddled with curse words, it's a 1. The next thing I calculate is spice. And when I get to spice, I will discuss that because this movie has a different caveat. So with spice, this is was there sex scenes? Specifically unnecessary sex scenes. Was there like a random boob or penis shot that like just came out of nowhere? And then the fourth thing is entertainment. Was I entertained? This is different from the plot. Did it have my attention the entire time? Could I look away? And if I did look away, is it because I was like skeeved out and couldn't keep watching it? Like, that is how I calculate it. And then I add all these scores up, and then I give it the TOG score. All right, let's go through them. First one, I want to talk about plot. I gave this a 5 out of 5 because let me tell you, when Sue came out of Elizabeth's back, I was not expecting that. I was shocked. Okay? Like, I was shocked. And that's unique. Whenever, like I said at the beginning, when you're thinking of, makes her younger, you're imagining like the Twilight Zone episode or like movies about the fountain of youth. You drink it, and then all of a sudden you're younger. You're not imagining a separate version of you crawling out of the back of the older version of you. So I had to give that a 5 out of 5. Even that last scene, that once again I said I could do without, it was kind of like Carrie, but at the same time, it was not. Like, it was just, to me, like, even that, like, that gave it a 5 out of 5 to me. I enjoyed that. Language. I could not remember the language, and I asked a friend, and we were talking, so I was like, okay, I guess that means it's not a lot. And then I just looked at it, and there were a couple of curse words in there. So I'm giving it a 3.5. I went back and forth between, like, I knew there was language, but I couldn't remember if it was a lot. And to me, that means there wasn't that much because it didn't stand out to me. But I think because there is talking in the movie. It's not like a silent picture, but there isn't as much dialogue as you would expect. So I think that is also why it just didn't stick out to me as much. So I do feel comfortable giving the language a 3.5. It wasn't, riddled with curse words, but there were strong language used. I want to say that. All right, so the next thing is spice. There were 2 sexy scenes in the movie, so that automatically bumps it down. So 5 out of 5 means there's no sexy scenes. There were 2, so that automatically you're never going to get a 5. Here is where this movie is different, and this is where I think there could be conversation could be had. There are scenes in the movie where they zoom in on parts of the naked body, but it does not feel as if it's in a sexual way. It does not feel as if it's, the purpose is to be sexy. It feels as if it's showing a message. It's saying a message. It's showing, how perfectly shaped this particular part of the body is, or how there's a little wrinkle here, or look at that cellulite. It feels as if there is a purpose behind it. Is it still nudity? Yes. And where I struggle, as someone who is interested in, who is a creative, I would say I'm probably a creative. I'm writing a book if you don't know. And who I think that these stories can tell a message. I struggle with that because I don't think there should be sex scenes for sure. I don't think there's any, you can always close the door for sex scenes. But I think there is conversation and showing it in this way. I think a bad example would be the one episode I saw of Euphoria because I wanted to figure out whatever I was talking about. There was nudity in that, and that, aside from the fact that they were high schoolers, which is like weird in and of itself, it felt unnecessary. It did not feel as if it fulfilled actual purpose in moving the plot along. And I want to say that the scenes in this movie, specifically, like I said, when she splits, I cannot express how much she splits, She comes out of her bag, okay? And you can't do that without her clothes on. And it is not as shocking and it does not convey the same if you say it happens off screen. So for that, I'm going to give The Spice a 4, and I'm not going to have this dock against the score, but I do want to mention it because I do think it is important for you to know if you're going to watch this movie. Even some of the scenes when Sue is a workout dancer, there are some scenes where they zoom in on her, and it does not feel sexual. It feels as if it's fulfilling a purpose. It feels as if it's showing a woman's body and just kind of getting us, and some of them felt uncomfortable, which I think is kind of the purpose too, to make us feel uncomfortable that we're looking at this woman's body in this way, especially working out. Like, working out should just be working out. It shouldn't have any sexual undertones to it. So I'm not going to dock that, but I am going to make note of it. So if you are going to watch the movie, please be aware I'm making note of it. I'm not going to dock it though. Entertainment. Okay. So I gave the entertainment a 4 as well. I was thoroughly entertained. Like I said, my brother and I were trying to figure out like what time period it took place in. A lot of the shots were really good. I liked the coloring. Like, it felt real in the sense of the coloring didn't feel real. The coloring felt like it was also like a part of the movie. Like, it felt like, her yellow jacket and then like the colors that Sue wore. It all, like, entertainment. It was good. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I didn't feel like there was a lull. Whenever Sue was out, I was like, okay, what's going on with Sue? Whenever Elizabeth was out, I wanted to know what was going on with Elizabeth. The reason why this is not a 5 is because, like I said, there is the body horror. And personally, wasn't expecting it. I wouldn't say that I particularly liked it. I think it conveyed, like I said earlier, it conveyed a message. I think that, it shocked value. I think it entertained me. I was entertained. I wouldn't necessarily say I liked it. So that's why I'm giving it a 4 and not a 5. But if you like if you like this type of stuff, like, this is a movie for you. Like, if you like kind of like weird, gross stuff and the costume people, whoever's in charge of all of that did a fantastic job. I mean, even when Demi Moore's finger was like wrinkled because of Sue took too long to transfer back or whatever, or took extra of the stuff, it was just done really well. It was gross. When there's a part where like her leg is so old and decrepit, like she has to like crack and it makes it sound like, oh, disgusting and gross, but like it was entertaining. It did a good job with the plot. Like, it really did. So like I said, I'm giving this a 4. So when I add all of these up, the TOG score is a 4.1. This, it would be higher if it wasn't for the language. It'd probably be a 4.5 if it wasn't for the language. Maybe even a 4.8. No, not 4.8. 4.5 if it wasn't for the language. Like, it is just really well done. And I want to say this other thing too about the plot. Like, the idea, the concept of Hollywood leaves behind the old woman, that is done and played out. Like, we've seen that in other movies. We can throw that into Barbie if we want to. If you work really hard, you'll probably find that in the Barbie movie. And like, there's Twilight Zone episodes about, like, it's something that's said, but like, I just think this concept, like, watching the physical concept of this was just so fascinating. You guys, this movie, I really liked it. If you see it, let me know. If you've already seen it, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my takes on it? I feel like I didn't really have any hot takes. I feel like I was just kind of like telling you some of my thoughts about it. I had two. I cannot remember the second thing I wanted to say about it. Golly, wow, I cannot believe this is so important. Maybe I blocked it out because it is kind of personal, and I kind of mentioned it, touched on it already, but I want to like maybe dig a little bit deeper. So when she finally gets that date, and she essentially she self-sabotages by not going on that date because of how she's viewing herself, when the guy already told her that he finds her attractive and beautiful. And I think that scene stood out to me because, once again, that's personal to me, like something I struggle with. I struggle with my perception of my beauty and like how I'm perceived by the world, and like what I think, what other people think, and like it's so real about you getting caught up in your head and then you self-sabotaging yourself of your happiness. And I think that too is just kind of like, and that was the turning point for her essentially. I think, to me, it felt like that was the point where like she realized like she's never going to be young and beautiful again. And instead of using this time as like, I'm never going to be young and beautiful, like I'm never going to be how I thought I was young and beautiful like that. I'm going to be where I am now. And I think that's something that we all can like think about. I think that's something we all, every woman listening, every woman that has seen, I think we can all kind of think about like being in the moment, like being where you are today. So yeah, that was the second part. I don't know why I blanked on it. But you know what? Me remember it means someone needed to hear that. Someone needed to hear what I had to say. So anyway, that is The Substance. Spoiler. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you saw it. Let me know. If there's any other movies and stuff you think I should do. I'm thinking of maybe doing like a series of like my favorite movies from childhood. Something, I don't know, something like that. I also, like I said, I'm in a book club, so I'm reading a lot more now. So I might do like first quarter. So maybe I'll do another spoilers in the next couple of weeks. Like quick summaries of the books I read first quarter, and then maybe like get your comments on them and like make some suggestions. But I have all the ratings on stuff like that for on the Instagram for Oops Spoilers. I'm gonna figure out how to also put it on the website on thosearethegirls.com, which is part of Other Girls Media. I'm gonna try to see if I can put, because like, you know, I want you to be able to look back and see. I want to somehow catalog that. I don't know. I'll figure it out how to like catalog it. So like if you're like, oh, I'm trying to decide if I want to watch this movie, or like I saw this movie now I want to see, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. So yeah. So anyway, I'm rambling. That is this episode. I hope you have a good night or morning or whenever you're watching. Bye.